Goddess Allison here. I am a life improvement coach and manifestation mentor, and today I would like to talk to you about how to fix your cavities naturally just by changing your diet. Yes, it's possible and you can do it. Now, some people have seen, especially particularly ladies, have seen another video that I did where I talked about how I used a special diet to cure HPV, which is a virus that could potentially cause cancer, especially in women. And I used a dietary change to fix that virus. And so when I went to the dentist about 3 or 4 months ago, and my dentist said, there are 6 places in your mouth where I recommend that you get fillings, I was like, no! Stop the train! I think I want to figure out what I can do about this. Even though the dentist, of course, said, this isn't going to reverse, you can't heal it naturally, you can't cure this, it's tooth decay, and it's likely only going to get worse, and it's going to progress into your tooth, and eventually you might need a root canal. And it had been a few years since I'd been to the dentist because I lived in an eco-village and the dentist was far away and I didn't have insurance. And so when I went to the dentist again, this is what he said. Even though before moving to the eco-village, I had gone to the dentist regularly, twice a year, but I don't believe that it's because of the lack of going to the dentist that my dentist all of a sudden said I had all these cavities. Well, they weren't cavities yet. He just said they were tooth decay, places in my mouth where he recommended getting fillings. And they were right between the teeth. So there's a little diagram that they gave me, and the decay that he saw was between the teeth where the teeth are touching all the time. And I put some little red dots on all the 6 places where he said I would need fillings. And my dentist is a typical Western medical dentist. He's very supportive, very knowledgeable, very caring. I really do believe he has, my best interest at heart and wants to work with me. And he was really supportive, and my hygienist, she's so supportive, and the receptionist. So I have a great dental office. I really like them, but of course, they're a conventional, westernized dentist. My dentist had lots of years of schooling and training and probably spent a lot of money to go to dentistry school, so he obviously is assured that he knows what he's talking about. And he told me, you're welcome to get a second opinion, you're welcome to do your own research. And he was very supportive when I said I would like to try for 3 months a dietary change, because I had heard people could fix their cavities by changing their diet, because I had read that online before I went to the dentist. I figured he'd probably tell me something, because when I was going to the dentist several years prior, there was this spot that they were watching, and they said it doesn't need a filling yet, we don't need to do anything, we're just watching this one spot. It was in the upper right side of my mouth, and so they'd been watching this spot for like 5 years at least. So I thought, okay, if that spot has gotten worse and they want to do something, I want to know what to do about if I have cavities, right? So when he said there are 6 spots, and I was like, I don't know. I've been brushing once a day, and he said that's not enough. You want to brush twice a day, and floss, of course. And my hygienist, because I had some questions about fluoride. I've heard both sides of the camp of the fluoride business, and my hygienist was so really knowledgeable and answering my questions. And she told me that when she was in dental school, they were taught that fluoride is the only mineral that can remineralize teeth as adult teeth, and after they've grown up to be adult teeth. And so I was like, I wonder what that's all about, because that's really interesting. And it didn't quite make evolutionary sense to me that fluoride would be the only mineral in the world that could fix your teeth if they're adult teeth. But I did some looking online about that, and it turns out fluoride works the way she said, but only as a topical application. So that means like something that, a treatment that you do once in a while, once in a blue moon, that you put on the teeth, on top of the teeth. So ingesting fluoride constantly in our water, hello people, mucky muck man upstairs, that doesn't make any sense. And the only, you know, again, I've heard both sides of the camp, of the fluoride camp. So why they would want to put it in our water all the time is kind of, it doesn't make sense to me. You know, I've heard they want to calcify your pineal gland, and Hitler put fluoride in the water to pacify prisoners or stuff like that. Or, and then the dentists, you know, say it fixes your teeth, and the ADA, the American Dental Association, says it fixes your teeth. And so this whole journey that I've had with food, it including, you know, changing my diet for HPV and changing my diet to heal cavities, it's kind of made me see that, what does David Wilcock, I watched some shows of his, and he says, follow the money. So it's kind of made me see like where the medical and food industry works together to maximize on profits, not necessarily maximize on people and their health, or just maximize on people in general, because, you know, the shadow man upstairs doesn't want to maximize on people. But I won't get too much into that in this video. But so I went to the dentist, and he said, you have 6 places in your mouth that need fillings. And I said, let me try to change my diet for 3 months. And so that was in June, and it's October now. And last week I had my dental appointment, and he said, this time, he said I would only need 3 fillings. So he didn't tell me if there was a change in my x-rays, because I did x-rays both times, and the second time I paid for the x-rays, because we asked him, me and the hygienist, we asked him, you know, is there a change in the x-rays from the last time she got them? And he just kind of flipped back and forth on them, and he said, well, you know, those other spots that needed to be filled, we can just watch them now as spots, and these 3 places I really recommend you get filled. So, you know, I'm not sure how well it worked, because I wasn't able to look. I probably could have asked my dentist to, you know, look at the both x-rays and see what the changes were, if there were any, after changing my diet. But the first time he said I needed 6 fillings, and now he's saying I only need 3 fillings. So something, you know, either nothing happened or something happened. So I'm not totally sure, but the whole diet change, I found a book called Cure Tooth Decay by Nigel, and I read that book. I'll show an image of it in this video. And I don't know who Nigel is. I've never met him. Nobody is promoting me to tell you about this book. I'm just passing along the information because it really enlightened my whole field into this curing cavities kind of genre game for just changing your diet. And the whole premise of this video is that the dietary change that was recommended in this book is very similar, in fact pretty much the same as the dietary change I used to cure a virus, you know, a cancer-causing virus, to heal HPV. And I'll go over what the dietary premise is to cure cavities, and some of the modifications that I used between, you know, curing a virus and curing cavities. And the main differences that I didn't do for the diet, one of them is in the Cure Tooth Decay book, it recommended that if you're a woman, that you stop your birth control, which mine is like a rod in my arm, and I can't really just stop taking it. And also they recommend that you only eat cooked fruit, not raw fruit, but I still ate uncooked fruit for the vitamin C. I ate mangoes because I heard they have more vitamin C than oranges, and vitamin C is really important in your cavity healing diet. So the basic premise of a cavity healing diet is the same with a few modifications as it was for my HPV healing diet. I made 2 videos on HPV and how I used my diet, how I changed my diet to fix that. And I have a free PDF available online. And then I found the Cure Tooth Decay book, and I was like, it's the same dang stuff except a few differences that you'd want to modify for healing teeth. So the premise of the book is your body is a healing organism. It's not meant to be damaged all the time like with cavities. And Romeo and Nigel cite some studies that were done by dentists like Weston A. Price, where they looked at Aboriginal and tribal cultures and saw that these people had no dental care, they never brushed, they never flossed, and they had near perfect teeth, they had beautiful teeth, they didn't have to get their wisdom teeth pulled, and when these same peoples would move to modern westernized cities and towns and start eating westernized food, they would start getting cavities. And so it's like, what's up with that? What is wrong with our food? And so the basic premise of the diet is for both healing HPV, healing a virus, or healing, I would say even healing cancer, because the truth is we already have the cures for cancer. We're not being told that we have the cures, and we have the cures for cavities. We're just not being told we have the cures. Why would anyone tell us? Cancer and cavities are a multi-billion-dollar industry. Even if they found the cure of cancer tomorrow, they would do their best to shush it up, because who making money off of this stuff wants the cure for cancer or cavities, right? So who in their right mind, if you go into any doctor's or dental office and said, you can fix this just by going to the grocery store, they're going to laugh you out of the place, out of the office. So the main premise of these two diets is eat all organic food, don't eat anything that's packaged or processed, don't eat anything that has added sugar, and drink plenty of water. They say you should be drinking half your body weight in ounces a day, and that's kind of a lot. It seems like a lot to me, but you just do your best. And low on the gluten. The Cure Tooth Decay book said stay away, don't eat any nuts, seeds, or grains unless they have been fermented, soaked, or sprouted, or fermented, soaked, or roasted. So this process kills an enzyme that inhibits your intake of phosphorus and calcium, which is the main premise of the cavity healing diet, is that you need to get enough phosphorus and calcium, which helps your teeth. And also you need to get a special, what I guess Weston A. Price called activator X, which is an element in things like raw milk that when an animal eats rapidly growing grass in the spring and summertime, it has a different element in its milk that is very good for healing, and for healing your teeth specifically. So he recommended, stop drinking pasteurized milk. Pasteurized milk is a very new concept in our history. My parents were raised on non-pasteurized milk. The dairyman would come up to their porch, deliver the milk, and it wasn't pasteurized. Pasteurization was implemented for hygienic reasons in places where they didn't have such good food handling practices. And so they said everyone needs to pasteurize their milk and make it safe, but it actually kills the activator X, and it kills some of the healthy things that are, I guess, good for your body. Of course, a lot of people recommend not drinking milk at all. The premise of the cavity healing diet, which was different than the HPV healing diet, which I said, you'd only want to drink raw milk if you're drinking milk at all, and you would probably not want to have a lot of dairy and maybe yogurt or kefir, because those are cultured foods and it's really good for your immune system. But the premise of the cavity healing diet is you want to be drinking 2 to 4 cups of raw milk a day. Don't eat any nuts, seeds, or grains unless they've been properly prepared. And also make sure you're getting activator X through cod liver oil. And there was a brand that Nigel recommended for cod liver oil mixed with high mineralized butter oil, which has the activator X in it, by a company called Green Pastures. And the one bottle is like a couple hundred tablets, and it maybe lasted me like a month or so, and it's maybe $50 a bottle, but you know, it was an experiment for me and that was the only dietary supplement. So this whole thing was an experiment, and my dentist gave me a plan of, you know, for the 6 fillings, how much it would be with my insurance and all of that. And so my grocery bill actually probably went up more than it would cost me to get them filled with my insurance, or even without the insurance is probably the same. So, you know, it's more expensive to eat organic and to eat healthy and to not buy packaged and processed food, because it's so prevalent in our typical westernized diet. And so you can heal your body with food. And the one of the things in Nigel's book that really stood out to me was he said that if kids, you know, in these tribal situations, if they were raised without grains, you know, processed packaged food, wheat, whole grain wheat, flour, all in everything, you know, and they were raised on a very traditional diet for their peoples, for their culture, and they ate more things with more phosphorus and calcium in them, and they didn't need their wisdom teeth pulled. Even in the same family where one brother ate the traditional family diet from their heritage and one brother insisted on having more breads and toast and jams and peanut butter with his, you know, meals and things like that, you could see the difference just in their teeth and the shape of their face and their mouth. And so if kids are not raised on processed packaged foods, your jaw actually develops wide enough to hold all of your teeth, including your wisdom teeth. And if you pull those out, you lose 30% of your chewing surface. So biologically, it's not making evolutionary sense that we just need to get them pulled out. And we must be so much more advanced now. And another thing that really just stood out to me, you know, Nigel has some pretty edgy, radical ideas about modern dentistry, but he really explained a lot about how modern dentistry thinks what it does and why it's telling you what it is, and he came to this subject from the perspective of, my toddler got cavities. This doesn't seem like it's biologically supposed to happen. Why is this that my daughter has cavities? And we don't eat a lot of junk food. You know, in his family, they didn't eat a lot of junk food. They were vegetarians. They didn't eat a lot of sugar or packaged food. And so he tackled this matter from that perspective, not necessarily from a perspective of, I'm a dentist and I'm indoctrinated into that whole school and the ADA and, you know, what dentistry says you need for your teeth. So he did 5 years of research before writing his book, and then he is a part of the Weston A. Price Foundation, and a holistic dentist did the foreword to his book, and it was really enlightening and made a lot of sense to me. So if you're looking for, you know, I'm not going to make a free PDF again on the cavity healing diet, because there's a book out there you can just go read. But again, my dentist was super supportive of what I wanted to do. And when I went back to the dentist last week, you know, 3-4 months after I'd gone to the dentist this summer, they were really supportive. And my dentist said, well, this is what I recommend, but it's ultimately up to you. And so I said, I'd like to keep my dentist for my cleanings and my checkups, but there's another dentist that I want to go to for my fillings. I live in Seattle, so it's a very, you know, it's a city, and it's generally open-minded about holistic things. And luckily for me, to change my diet, to buy raw milk, to buy organic food, lots of leafy green vegetables. You know, you need lots of leafy green vegetables, and organic grass-fed organ meats are good to eat on your cavity healing diet. And so there's a farmer's market that's 1 block away from me, and that made it really easy to switch over to this cavity healing diet for myself. And my butcher, I was telling him about, where I buy duck eggs. So in the book it said, you want to eat eggs fairly regularly, but duck eggs are better than chicken eggs. I was like, where am I going to find duck eggs? So at the farmer's market, this butcher has duck eggs, and he has lamb hearts and, some organ meats. And I was telling him about a cavity healing diet, and he says, oh, my customers, I have 2 customers, and they're holistic dentists, and this is what their dentist office is called. And I looked them up, and they practice biocompatible dentistry. So in a month, I'm going to go see this other dentist that practices biocompatible dentistry, which is very much what Nigel described in his book about what he felt dentistry should be about. And what biocompatible dentistry does is it tests your blood first before putting dental materials in your head to make sure that they're going to be, all holistic with your body and your body chemistry. And they have different practices and philosophies around drilling your teeth and fillings and root canals and fluoride. So I'm going to go see a different dentist for my fillings, and that's my little spiel for you all about, just get out there and cure yourself, cure your body, cure your cavities and your viruses and your cancer with food. Do what your doctors recommend, what they advise to you. Listen to them because they're very knowledgeable and helpful. But in addition, you can change your diet and it will heal your body because you are what you eat. So let food be thy medicine.